here. Hopefully that works. Okay, so we're
Hi, we're
turning on.
live.
All right. So, everyone, this is my champion of the inaugural Daniel Challenge here. And I wanted to bring her in to give her testimony of what it was like doing the 10-day challenge. So, I'm going to just ask a few questions here. And this will give you a glimpse into what can be done in 10 days on this challenge. So, just to give you a spoiler alert, she lost 12 pounds in 10 days. Like, that's amazing. Like, for me, I thought 10 pounds in 10 days was amazing. She topped me by 2 pounds. Wow. So, we need
That's
to learn.
when I have more weight to lose. No.
Yeah. So, we're going to learn your secret sauce to that, and then also talk about how we're progressing beyond the challenge. So, first things first, Christina, let's get a little background on yourself. This is going to be more generic, just so people get a picture of who you are. Like, I know who you are. You're my homegirl, OG since we were little kids. But, what's your name? What do you do? What inspires you? Like, who are you?
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Christina, and like Delia said, her and I go way back, like to the 80s or late 80s, whenever she was born. And a little bit about me: I'm a mother of two. I work in the school, in the education realm. I'm a school social worker, and I'm always on my feet and very active in life, especially with two small children. I'm always, having to run to like different practices with them, and then being home, cooking dinner for my family, and rushing out the door every morning to get them to school and get myself to work. And so throughout my life, throughout my 20s and 30s, I've always been trying to find the secret of youth, and where is that secret ingredient. But and I tried all these different diets and exercise regimens, and never really been able to stick to just anything. And then when Delia approached me about this Daniel challenge, I thought, I'm just going to go for it. It's only 10 days. And it was really hard at first. But I think for me, the most important part was to get a system down, like a prepping system down. And so, but what was the question about? What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about, I'm coming up on 40, but I don't look it. So I'm definitely, so I think that was my main, one of my main pushes to joining the challenge is like, oh my gosh, I'm coming up on 40, and people say once you hit mid 40s is when you really start to see the change in yourself internally and externally. And so I wanted to start this new chapter of my life off in the healthiest way that I could think possible, and that was doing this Daniel challenge. And so here I am.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the timing worked out for my godly inspired dream to help you as you're making your big jump into the 40s. Like, that's amazing. And so before you started, what was your diet looking like? Or had you tried previous diets? Why did they work? Why didn't they work?
Previous diets involved a lot of meat. Not necessarily like the keto diet, but a lot of I thought I had to have meat all the time on my plate. And you watch all these different, documentaries and read books about it, and then hear other people's testimonials. And I mean, the people that I would follow, like on Instagram or other social media outlets, they're bodybuilders, and to each his own. Like, if that works for them, that's fine. But when I started this Daniel challenge, I immediately felt this lightness about myself, like in my gut. In my gut, I felt lighter, and I looked it too. Like, I looked slimmer. There was this slimming effect that happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, just kind of getting that thought out of my head that I had to have the meat on my plate in order for it to count as protein, and really get out of that thought process of my protein all comes from meat. And so that is something very different that I had never really tried before and really researched on. So thank you, Delia, for opening my eyes and just educating not only myself, but my husband as well about how bad processed foods are, and even just protein shakes. Like I thought if I'm drinking a protein shake like Slim Quick or whatever, that it was like, why isn't this working? And it's like, well, technically, because all this stuff is like processed too, and it's just a different form of protein that you're getting that's not really the best health wise for you. And so just kind of getting out of that mindset and having my eyes open to the benefits of true whole foods. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's funny you bring up the protein, and something that came to light as I was presenting for the first 10-day challenge was like the excess protein, when you overdo it, ends up turning into fat in your body. So all these people that think they need so much protein, like, and they're adding extra protein into the shakes and all this, that like it ultimately could just end up turning into fat in their body. So I was like, oh wow, that's another interesting piece. But so what you would say, you were previously on like a standard American diet?
And
yeah.
Every breakfast it had to be eggs and some sort of meat, like a bacon. Oh God, the bacon is so bad. Or a sausage or Spam. My son, and that for me right now is a challenge for me that I'm dealing with is with my kids. Like I've basically raised both my children on this American diet, and I'm not as picky. Like I can go with the flow and change things, and I'm a little more adventurous with trying new meals and new vegetables and new ways of cooking things. But I've already stuck it in my kid's head that this is the way it needs to be. And so that for me right now is a challenge that I'm dealing with. And just getting out of that mode of thinking I'm not going to get full if I eat a plate of vegetables. Like, no, I need something more. It's like, really, I don't. And making a smoothie, that can hold me over as a mini meal, and it's all fruit. It's all fruit and natural. And so just kind of getting that mindset.
Awesome. And so did you try any other diets? Like, I know the keto is really popular now, the paleo, any of those other types of low carb, higher meat diets? Like, did you try any of those?
I did. And like I, said before, it was like the idea of needing to have meat on the plate. But I wasn't seeing any kind of real results. Definitely not the effective results that I've seen with the Daniel Challenge and being plant-based, it's crazy. It's amazing.
So speaking of your results on this challenge, like I love hearing it because it's just so like, I didn't even think that's possible, but you did it. So what were your results after completing this challenge, and what areas of your life kind of improved, and why do you think they improved?
So when I started, I was weighing 173, and then at the end of it, I went down to 162. So what is that, 12 pounds? And is it? I don't know math. Whatever it is, I'm just happy it's done. But just like I said about the gut, not feeling heavy in the gut, the bloatedness, even, TMI, but like my bowel movements and just like that, the naturalness of everything, and not feeling backed up or anything like that. I'm sorry if I'm giving too much information on that personal aspect, but it's something that definitely there was this improvement on. The energy, not being able to need coffee. I love coffee. I really do. I don't know if I'm an addict. Maybe I'm still in denial, but I would always have to have this cup of coffee in the morning, and I could not leave the house without it. And there were days that I just wouldn't even think twice about it. I just leave the house and I'd go, and it'd be 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the late morning. And I'd be like, oh my God, I didn't drink any coffee today. And I had my water, and I would have some tea, and it was okay. I still was energetic. I'd be sitting in boring meetings at work, and I wouldn't be yawning or having to like block my mouth from yawning, and just little things like that I noticed in my overall energy throughout the day. So.
Awesome. So what, it's when you mentioned the bowel movements, that's a common comment that's given to me. And it's interesting when you think about it. It's like prior to all of this, all that stuff was just staying in your system and building up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
you're meant to frequently
Yeah.
just let it all out to stay healthy. So that buildup is what blocks everything and can manifest certain things in your body that you don't want. So what impact just overall has this challenge had on you getting these quick results and acquiring all this knowledge in terms of health and wellness?
It's really empowered me. I feel like it's given me this new confidence in health and wellness, and things that I didn't think I could ever do. Just sticking to certain recipes, even the salads, the dressings you've given me. Some of them have been like, you make it your own. Sometimes you add a little more of one thing and a little less of something else. But in the long run, it's just kind of, sorry, I'm getting a little message over there. Overall confidence in myself, and just being empowered to know that I can do it, that maybe I'm not this health guru, but I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be my own health guru. I'm not trying to be anybody else's. And the proof is in the pudding. And so it's really just been inspired. You've inspired me, and I've been very empowered to continue on this journey, and I'm excited for what's ahead. So yeah.
Yay, I love that. Like, that's exactly my philosophy. It's like everyone needs to just be their own guru. Like, everyone has a different path. Nobody has this cookie cutter way, and nobody's meant to be perfect their whole life. It's all a learning process. And for me, I like that I did indulge for all those years previously, because I know that I'm not missing out. Like, I've had my fun, I've had my flavors, I've tried all these exotic foods, and that way I don't feel as compelled to like always need to eat it. So when you first heard of this challenge, I know there's different layers tied into it. You have the whole food plant-based food aspect, you have the godly spiritual aspect, and then you have the whole community aspect. Like, what about this challenge kind of piqued your interest in the beginning?
Learning more about just whole food, plant-based, and learning about how different how meats affect us, and but then too, also the community. I feel really blessed to have been able to be very transparent with the group that was in the challenge the first time. I had days where I was like feeling really guilty, and I didn't even want to go on and talk to anybody about my backslidden ways of drinking coffee that particular day, or like I was maybe the first 2 days I was like having a headache, and then Graham posted a recipe that he was using instead of coffee, like what he would drink. And so it just made me feel better, because if Graham is Delia's husband and he's having a hard time, then it made me feel better. Like, okay, I'm not so bad. So,
he is the most addicted to coffee person I know. Like, he's like, if he can get off coffee, anybody can do it, no problem. Like, he's obsessed.
And not feeling alone, like in that moment of like, oh, or if you happen to eat, let's say you just can't one day, and you just go out and you have a sandwich, or I don't know, a Coke or something. It's like, okay, fine, it happened. Like, just move on. And if you need to get that support, there is that group behind you to support you and help you just think of alternatives for the next time, like you're feeling the urge to splurge or whatever. Yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of just the overall community and, my husband, his experience, like describe what working with us was like what area did you get the most value, and why do you think you got so much value from it?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I love Delia's posts. I love how genuine you are, and you're just like very, you'll tell your funny stories, but then you'll bring it back to, the message at hand, but you have this very real, genuine way about delivering the message. And so I appreciate that. I enjoy getting that from you because with other diets, or not diets, but with other, well, yeah, like things that people will follow, they make you feel, whoever's presenting it makes you feel like, kind of like they're snooty about it. Like they're kind of better than you. And I'm like, please, and I just appreciate the genuineness that you bring to the group. And so it makes it really easy to just kind of go with the flow and not feel this added pressure that maybe you could feel anywhere else in any other kind of group. And so that's something that I've appreciated. I know there was a talk that both you and Graham gave together, and just seeing that team of husband and wife coming together and sharing your story and your own trials and tribulations with your journey have been really helpful. So that's something that I've gotten out of this, is just not having the pressure of performing, I guess, or having outcomes. They're just going to come on their own. It's like the food, the fruit and the vegetables, and everything that comes along with it, the different recipes, not using the oils in your daily meals, just not using olive oil. I was like, what? How am I going to cook? Little things like that just really are eye-opening and help you realize that it's doable. So.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's simple little tricks that you never thought about. That's like, oh, this was so easy. Why didn't I do it before?
I've never had so much vegetable broth in my pantry than I do during this challenge. So.
Yeah. And then I'm glad you pointed out kind of the realness aspect. Like that's what I had in mind. It's like, I'm not some celebrity fitness person who just spends their entire days at the gym.
See, realness. I need to close my window, my gardener.
Oh. So I'm glad you appreciated that. It's always fun hearing this feedback. So so these last few questions, we have like 3 more questions. I just want to this was the inaugural group. You guys are the first one. So obviously it was me, flowing through my inspiration and finding that path and then building on it. And so part of building on it is your guys' feedback and recommendations. So, based on this first run, like how likely are you to recommend us, and someone that you do recommend, why do you believe they should pull the trigger and take it?
Yeah, so I do have a couple of friends of mine. I mean, I'm gonna actually recommend this to everybody, just because if it's not like a lifestyle that you're really interested in having, then the 10-day challenge is great, because it's a perfect way for you to like just clear out your system. And that's kind of where I was at. I was like, well, let me just do this for 10 days and I'm gonna clear out my system, and then I can go back to eating my candy. But we've kind of continued it. And have I eaten meat since then? Yes, I have. I've had some chicken. On Valentine's Day we had pizza because the kids wanted pizza. So it's like yes, I have had some processed food here and there, but then it's like having the challenge coming up. It's like, okay, Christina, Eric, you got to reset. Let's get back on it. The kids, we need to ingrain this good eating habits into them. And so we're starting again. I just recommend it to everyone. And so 2 friends that I have in particular, the reasons I would want to recommend it to them is because I know that they have tried other diets like keto, paleo, and I'd be curious to see, like, get a comparison, because they've actually been much better than me, and they're more wants to be more dedicated at it. So seeing what they could say about the differences between the 2, and then just for their overall health. I know that they're really interested in maintaining, overall health, and they're really good at going to the gym all the time. And so I think that they'd be great additions to the group. So that's just a couple of friends that I have in mind. I won't put them on blast right now because I don't know if they're joining or not. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would recommend it to everyone, whether it's like you wanting to change your lifestyle completely, or if you want to just dip your toes in a little. This is like a perfect way to do it and just clean yourself out. So yeah.
Awesome. So what would you say was your personal, like, your little nugget of knowledge or your big takeaway from, like, I did like 10 days of topics and presentations and kind of education and biblical tie-ins. Like, was there this like, whoa, like when I presented some type of research or something that kind of really stuck with you or triggered something in your mind that altered your perspective on food, health, any of that? God.
So, yeah, I mean, so I'm doing the plant-based 100%. But like my kids and my husband, not so much. So one eye-opening thing for me was, and it again goes back to you just being very genuine and real with everybody. You know, you don't have to not eat meat. You just maybe can limit the amount of meat you're eating and really focus on the type of meat you're eating and the difference of the hormone induced meats and the grass-fed meats. And I taking it from the biblical sense of where it speaks about in scripture, you know, why you should be eating certain meat because of the cow is like what is the term, churning?
Choose the cud.
The cud, choose the cud. I'm like, the cud, but the cud, it's all about the cud. And so that was eye-opening to me, because now as I'm going to the market and I'm looking at meats, I'm like, that doesn't have no cud in there. Like,
that's hilarious.
so
that's gonna be my new tagline. If it ain't got cud, you don't want any of it.
But it's true. It's like, you don't think about this. And then, and you see in the Bible where it's like, it doesn't say don't eat any meat, but if you're going to, and it totally mind blown, eyes opened. It's now when we go to the market, we are really limited on how much meat we buy, because thankfully with the help of Delia and also my sister Rebecca, shout out to Becky, they've given me some recipes to choose from, and just kind of to put it on my kids' plate and have them try it. And some of them were winners and some of them aren't. And so I'll eat that for leftovers the next day, you know, but they don't want to eat. But yeah, that right there, just the difference in the type of meat that you buy and how important it is to eat. Like, if you're going to eat meat, to go towards it grass-fed, and why, you know, that's such an important piece. So
awesome. So
yeah.
last question. I love that chewing the cud thing. I totally forgot about that. So.
I was looking at you.
So what, last piece is I want some of your constructive criticism. So like, what can I do to improve, or collectively can, Graham and I, whatever we did, what can we do to improve the onboarding for you or anyone that's new? And throughout the presentation, was there a topic or anything that you felt could have been added, inserted, or anything? Like any part of the process, you won't hurt my feelings. Again, it's the first one, so I realized it's not gonna be perfect, and I appreciate your patience. So for the next round, what can we do to improve it for the next crew?
The only thing is maybe shortening the talks. Sometimes it's hard to commit. And I don't know if they're an hour long, like a total hour of time. And so sometimes I found myself pausing it and then having to come back to finish the rest of it. So that, but then also I would love to see you guys in the kitchen actually preparing some of the meals. That would be really fun. I've seen your YouTube video of you making your ice cream, your banana and chocolate ice cream. And I think it's the funniest thing ever. And I miss seeing you on camera in the kitchen, making your fun experiments. So that's like really the only thing that I would like to see, just because I've seen you in the kitchen before and it's so hilarious. So I get to laugh at you.
Everything would break and I get the wrong measurements. But
I love it.
Comes out good.
Yes, that's all that matters.
Awesome. That's amazing feedback. So I had been thinking about the shortening time of the presentations, because now that I've run through it for the first time, now I can go through it quicker, so that's great. And then, I hadn't thought about adding the kitchen video, so that'll be fun. I think I can do that this round too. So,
awesome.
Okay, well, I think that's it for your story. Thank you for sharing all those details. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause so that we can get into our little one-on-one.
Yes,
Question.
girl. Don't be putting my information on blast. So.
Okay, so let me pause. Let's see.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.